You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are right now and change the ending. Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. Today I'm going to be reacting to NF How Could You Leave Us? It's been a long time since I've been on the NF journey, since I started the NF journey when I did my other reaction. So I'm excited to keep it going, get back on that path, and see what we've got. So let's go.
How could you leave so unexpected? We waited for you, but you just left us. We needed you, yeah, I needed you. Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness that kills. Mama told me she loved me, I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. Welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison, let me out of my cell. You say you proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you coming to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. I'm in a room with a parent that I don't barely know. Some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, mom. Don't you wanna watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no, but you won't do it, will you? You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you. Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Oh. I got this picture in my room and
I want to stop and touch on this a bit before it goes into what sounded like the next part, but oh man, this is another hard hitter lyric wise because it hits me in a different way, because my mom passed unexpectedly, and it was after a heart attack, and I remember thinking, how can you leave somebody you love, especially after you experienced this, as she'd lost my dad 2 years prior. But I would relate grief, and I think this is also grief because you're still losing somebody just in a different way. I would relate grief honestly more to a cage than a prison, because it's like you're watching everyone else live out their happy lives and you're just broken and you feel like your life is over. So in the sense of death, you're watching everybody else still get up in the morning and still go about when your whole world is crashing down. In the sense of this, it's you might get to see other people have these loving parents, these loving families that you don't get to have, and that's so heartbreaking. But losing someone can make you feel very stuck. No matter how you lose them, it can make you feel very stuck. And in this case, it's abandonment. You know, they lost him to abandonment when this person couldn't kick their addiction, when mom couldn't kick her addiction. So now he only gets to see his mom supervised, and he feels completely disconnected from her because she's not able to cultivate that relationship with her children because of her addiction.
I got this picture in my room and it kills me, but I don't need a picture of my mom, I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have, but why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? You should have been there when I graduated, told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, mom? What you young to understand? Where you at, huh? Yeah, I know them drugs that got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes, they got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I am not laughing. And what you don't realize and what you're not grasping, that I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand it. I ain't gonna say that I forgive you cause it hasn't happened. I thought that maybe I'd feel better as time passes. If you really cared for me, then where you at then? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room, talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. A couple weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once, I guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took everything.
I think that that's crazy because music can be our connection, you know, with people to help them understand or to connect to their memory. But this is scary because I was just staring at a picture of my parents not 2 weeks ago, hollow and desperate to have more than a sliver of paper and crying that they would never see me reach my potential. So they'd never see me graduate. They never got to meet their grandson. They never got to see me, you know, launch this channel and do my outreach and stuff and change the world. But it talks about the child being too young to understand. And it seems to me like he actually has a pretty decent understanding compared to how most people internalize this. But I would argue that most people don't understand. I don't think that that's an age thing. I think regardless of age, most people don't really truly deeply comprehend how much that addiction can hijack a person. And if addiction is bad enough, it's not that they willfully don't care for their children, it's that they can't care for their children because they can't care about anything. And he was talking about how he's not at a place of forgiveness. We're not obligated to forgive anyone, and we're certainly not obligated to do it on someone else's timeline, but learning about addiction and what addiction can do and the psychology of addiction can help give you that freedom, because forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about you. It's about giving yourself that freedom. And once you understand that it has nothing to do with you and your worth, that can be very liberating.
Thing inside of me not to scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. They found you on the floor. I could tell you felt hollow. Gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Oh. Sometimes I think about things like, you know, when I have kids and like, you won't be there, you know, you won't be there for any of that.
Oh my God, no.
I'll never get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would have just called you. I wish I would have just picked up the phone. I wish you were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. The pills got you right. And pills got you right. I wish you were here.
He is such an excellent storyteller, both through the visuals and through the lyrics. It's always sad when they display the true tragedy and how these not so happy endings happen a lot. And obviously she lost her battle to addiction, and it's truthfully inevitable. It's not a matter of if, but a question of when. Because when will you accidentally take too much? When will the effects catch up with you? When will it give your shadow the ability to overpower you. So I don't think it's an if, it's a when, but there was the anger of him wanting to scream at his mom's funeral. So it's kind of going through the stages of grief here, the Kubler-Ross stages of grief, where he's having the anger of wanting to yell at her funeral, and then the sadness. You can hear him crying, see the tears when it goes back to him, and I think that's completely understandable. It's completely understandable to go through those emotions. That's why there's a framework for it, because those drugs took his mother's identity and took away the life and memory that he should have had with her and that he deserved to have with her. And addiction takes so much and gives so little. Loved ones, they're left with this anger, they're left with this sadness and guilt that they didn't do more, that they couldn't do more, that they didn't make that phone call. There's always that guilt when, if you're listening to this and you're struggling with those feelings, there's nothing that you could have done, because though the recovery journey should involve a lot of support from, if you have family and friends or support groups or professionals, whatever the case is, it should involve a lot of support. But that initial decision to go into recovery has to be internal. And just because they can't come to that decision doesn't say anything about you or anyone else. And I know that's something that you're not going to accept right now, but I hope it at least plants that seed that it has nothing to do with you or your worth. And I'm beyond grateful that my addiction never got to the point of affecting my relationship with my son. And I'm so grateful that he never had to wrestle with these thoughts, that he never had to be the one holding back his anger and rage at my funeral. I remember having a lot of anger when my parents passed away, even though neither one of them passed away from addiction. It just still felt like, why didn't you love me enough to stay? Why couldn't you fight? So I definitely had some of that, but this isn't the legacy that we want to leave, right? Nobody wants to leave this legacy. And I know deep inside, this isn't the life that any addict wants to leave. I know, I've been there, or lead. I've been there. It's not the life that we want to lead. We just feel trapped. And addiction can be so enticing. It's this false friend because it promises us comfort and escape, and it will charm you, but then it pulls you straight into hell, and it will take everything from you. But whether you're the loved one or the addict in this situation, whether the other person is still here or not, if this is something that relates to you, there's a lot of healing that can be done, and all isn't bleak, all isn't hopeless. This chapter doesn't have to define your entire life. It doesn't have to define your character, regardless of which side of the story you're on. So I'm going to link some resources down below if you're needing to get help with addiction, if you're needing to heal some of that past trauma, either from some of the damage you did while you were in active addiction, or perhaps you are someone like an F here who, I don't know if this is personal to him that he actually went through this, but his character here, if you're that person, I will link some resources for you as well. So like I said, regardless of whether or not the person's here, you can get the help and healing that you deserve, because you deserve peace. You're worthy, you're lovable. I love you. There's a whole community here that's here for you, regardless of which side of this you're on. So make sure you're sharing your stories, good, bad, and crazy, here in the comments. That's how we shatter the mental health stigma. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, share it. You never know who might need to see it. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.